Wow, Terminator 2 really stuck the landing, huh? Not only did it blow our minds with that epic final battle, but it also wrapped up the whole story in a way that made you think. Remember the first Terminator? If you haven't seen our ending explained of the Terminator, you can check it out in our playlist. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host Terminator. Let's dive into the future. This sequel totally flipped the script. This time around, Arnold's Terminator is on the good guy team, protecting Sarah Connor and her son from this even more terrifying T-1000. Their fight for survival leads them to this crazy steel mill showdown. And let me tell you, it does not disappoint. But even with all the explosions and killer robots, there's still this deeper meaning to the whole thing. So yeah, Terminator 2 is definitely a top-notch sequel. It's bigger, bolder, and somehow even more expensive than the first one. And that ending? Mind-blowing action with some lingering questions to ponder. T-800 is on his mission. Oh man, here we go again with the Terminator's whole time travel mess. That unstoppable T-1000 played by Robert Patrick. Yeah, Skynet, that whole killer AI Sarah keeps warning about, sent this bad boy back in time on a mission to dust John Connor before he can become the future robot fighting hero everyone's counting. Kind of feels like Skynet's getting desperate, you know? Like a football team, down by a touchdown with nothing left to lose, so they just chuck. Hail Mary passes all game. Got a feel for Skynet fans watching this play out again? Rough times. On the other side of the field, we've got the original Terminator model, the T-800. Think of it as the more, classic Terminator. Less fancy tech, more like a walking tank. John's future resistance crew snagged this guy, reprogrammed him, and sent him back in time to be young John's bodyguard from the T-1000. So basically, it's a messed up, hyper-violent time travel twist on there was an old lady who swallowed a fly, but instead of a fly, it's a cyborg assassin. John and his new murderous pet Terminator become an unlikely duo, and then they bust Sarah out of the loony bin because, you know, Sarah's been talking a little too much about Skynet and the robot apocalypse. Let's just say Sarah's not exactly thrilled about John's new best friend. Anyway, this ragtag team has two main goals. 1. Avoid getting melted by the T-1000, and 2. Off Miles Dyson, the tech dude whose inventions basically paved the way for the whole Terminator mess. Stop Dyson, stop Skynet, hopefully avoid the whole robot uprising, that kind of thing. Fate of T-1000. Terminator 2 really cranked the difficulty level way up, didn't it? Remember how Sarah took care of the Terminator in the first movie? Crushed it flat in a press? That trick wouldn't fly against the T-1000. This new Terminator is all liquid metal, like a killer robot made out of mercury. Nasty stuff. Things get bleak for Sarah and John when the T-1000 takes down their protect the T-800. Luckily, turns out Arnold's Terminator has a spare battery pack or something, because he jumps back in the fight just in time. He blasts the T-1000 with a grenade launcher, sending that chrome killer right into a vat of molten steel. Talk about a fiery demise. Fate of T-800. Terminator 2 really pulled on the heartstrings at the end, huh? So John finally gets this awesome cyborg bodyguard, they fight off the bad guy Terminator, and things are looking up. But then Arnold's Terminator makes a super tough call. He's grown kind of attached to John, like a weird metal dad, but he knows there's still a risk. As long as he's around, there's a chance machines will take over the future. So, big sacrifice time. He melts himself down in that vat of molten steel to make sure there's no Terminator tech left for anyone to mess with. No more Skynet, no more robot uprising. This whole movie messes with your head though, like some serious time travel mind games. Remember how Sarah's future husband Kyle Reese went back in time in the first movie? Turns out, the Terminators were built using parts from the Terminator Sarah destroyed. Crazy, right? So if Kyle never went back, John wouldn't exist, and if Sarah had completely crushed the Terminator, instead of leaving some scraps, Skynet's creator wouldn't have had anything to work with. Basically, to avoid messing up history even more, the Terminator had to take plunge. Talk about a selfless act. Is there an alternate ending? Terminator 2 actually had a pretty cool alternate ending that offered a glimpse of a brighter future. Remember that whole Judgment Day thing Sarah was freaking out about? Well, in this ending, August 29th, 1997 rolls around, and nothing happens. No robot uprising. Humanity keeps on truck. It's a pretty sweet deal. The scene shows an older Sarah Connor with her son John and even a granddaughter, all hanging out at a playground. It's the same playground from Sarah's scary visions, but this time it's filled with laughter and kids playing, not nuclear war. This ending would have wrapped up the whole Terminator story with a nice little bow. No more sequels, just Sarah and John living happily ever after, knowing they stopped the robot apocalypse. Pretty cathartic, right? The only problem is, It left the ending a little ambiguous. Since the playground was also in Sarah's nightmares, it could have been interpreted as just a hope dream. So they ended up going with the more dramatic ending where the Terminator sacrifices himself, leaving the door open for more robot-crushing adventures. Ending. Explained of Judgment Day. Terminator 2. Leaves you thinking, huh? The movie ends back in the present day. No jumping ahead to see if Sarah and John really stopped Skynet for good. It's kind of a downer note, like there's still a chance things could go south for humanity. But hey, at least Sarah has some hope. She believes people can learn from their mistakes and avoid that whole robot uprising thing. The movie ends with Sarah narrating her thoughts, and it's a pretty powerful message. The unknown future rolls toward us. I face it for the first time with a sense of hope, because if a machine, a Terminator, can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too. So this was for today's folks. See you in next video. Till then, bye-bye and take care.
Stay here. I'll be back.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.